Anyone traveling from LA to Las Vegas will be familiar with a few icons along the way, like the signpost, the aliens, and the big thermometer. This is the I-15, a big interstate that passes right through the desert. And that desert is, of course, the Mojave, and was my destination for this part of the journey. The Mojave National Preserve covers 2,500 square miles of the Mojave, Great Basin, and Sonoran deserts. Vast, rugged, and mysterious. I soon set up camp near Sema, a vast open wilderness with Joshua trees scattered across the landscape. After the trailer was unhitched, it was time to explore. Well, these back roads aren't the greatest, but it's great for getting up close to the Joshua trees in the forest. It's just not something you bring the family van with. You need a Jeep because roads are a little rough. And I'm not towing the trailer right now. The high desert has the deepest blue sky I've ever seen. It was like walking through a Kodachrome slide. This intricate landscape was perfect to try my new camera accessory I was building. Made out of 2 broomsticks, some plastic and rollers, it sat between 2 tripods. I just had to manually slide the camera across the rails. It certainly added depth to those prickly cactus needles. Well, it's a little windy today in my Mojave paradise. It even knocked my chair over. So it was time to stay indoors and do some things that I've been putting off. And one of them was working on my fan. Now this is the second vent fan. I'd made a modular system for my vents. The first one I did a video on, but this is for the right side, which I'm doing now. And during dry dock, I got this far with it, but one thing I didn't do was put bug screens. Because, well, first of all, it was like December and it was minus 20 out. Why would I need bug screens? But now I'm in the Mojave Desert. I figured, still, it's desert. Why would I need bug screens? I mean, there's no mosquitoes around here. But when I first opened the trailer, when I first got here, I flung open the vent and this swarm of bees came in. Okay, well, a quartet of bees or a quintet because there's a kazoo player. Anyway, they just buzzed around my trailer till I got them out and I shut the vent. But it was obvious I had to put some bug screens up. So what I've got is I've got the screen from my old vents, and I'm just going to take this out and put it in place around the fans because the only way they can get in are the fans. So that's my project today. Something you do when it's too windy and too cold. But I'll talk more about the fans later. The next day was calm and sunny, so I took a trip to an area known as the Devil's Playground. This used to say stop, but now it just says, oh. Near the Aikens mine are cinder cones of long extinct volcanoes. There's also a long string of lava flows that look like a black gash on the horizon. If you have a tendency for tripping and falling on your kneecaps, you might want to stay away from the lava beds. They're a little rough. I'm using hiking boots with ankle support. You can really twist up an ankle really easy here. Dark, tortured masses of rock, the lava flows distorted and twisted as they hardened. But they are not without life and color. As lichens clung to the side, they emit an almost fluorescent glow to the shadows. No trip to this area would be complete without a visit to the lava tubes. Fortunately, one has easy access by a steel ladder descending into the depths. Over 7 million years ago, the lava stopped flowing and left empty cavities underneath the surface. The amazing feature is that millions of years of erosion have exposed the darkness to little rays of sunlight as the sun breaches the cave and its fine dust. The effect is heavenly rays in a Gothic cathedral. Watching the dust dance in the light is mesmerizing. Finding beauty in such a violent, turbulent past is something everyone can experience and benefit from. Well, there we go. Got the screen in between the plexiglass and the fan. Now the fan directs the air out that way, so any bugs are going to get the screen and a blast of air. And any bugs that happen to be inside are going to be sucked through the fan and go boom, boom, boom on the screen. So they're not going to like that either. So I think it's win-win either way, except for the bugs, of course. So I think that'll do it. These little clips, I don't know if you can see it or not. Where's the sunlight? Maybe you can see them better on this side. But what these are, this is what holds it up to the roof. It's a little spring clip. And what I used was a dull hacksaw blade. See, it's got the springiness. And just a little tab for my finger there so that I can detach it. And a little bit of plastic is what it actually grips on. So, I think we're good. Bring on the bugs. The next day, however, it was bring on the trains, as the railroad had been part of the Mojave since 1905. Nearly 150 years later, the Union Pacific still hauls its overland route several times a day. With the trains on their way, I was free to explore another unique region of the Mojave, the Kelso Dunes. Patterns in the sand have always fascinated me. The ripples, the contrasting shades, interwoven patterns, and the way it flows around objects. But they also reveal who has traveled across them, like this three-toed upright creature. Or this strange little guy that left these delicate prints. What left these tracks is a mystery, as my only animal encounter was this clumsy little critter trying to maneuver around a boulder field. But I had my own challenge ahead. Ascending the sand dune revealed the other key ingredient to its existence: wind. And all those black dots you see in the footage is wind forcing the dust into my camera. Fighting the forces of nature meant I needed a break to get the sand out of my eyes and clear my lungs. A runny nose is torture up here, as a Kleenex turns into 40 grit sandpaper. But I think I had enough. It was time to go somewhere a little less drafty. It was so nice to have a shower after those sand dunes. They were brutal. That sand was nasty, being sandblasted. But I left my bag open a little bit, and everything now has sand in it, including my cameras. Man, I'm just glad I was wearing jeans. I'd hate to be the guy wearing shorts and loose boxers. Ouch. Next day's goal was to visit the Mitchell Caverns and the Hole in the Wall, but things don't always go as planned. Well, as impressive as the Mitchell Caves may be, it apparently takes a little pre-planning, because the hours are from Friday to Sunday, and I'm here on a Thursday. Doesn't always pay to be impulsive, I guess. Drove 100 miles. Saw some great country on the way, though. Despite missing the caverns, the Hole in the Wall district made the drive worthwhile. It seems every little section of the Mojave is unique in its own way, something you rarely find in big natural areas. The holes and pockets of weathered sandstone can be explored for hours. Every turn of a corner something different appears, so rich in texture, color, and shape. The perfect hideout for trolls, ghouls, and ogres. Of course, I had to show one more feature of this area, the Hole in the Wall. Back at camp, a sundog hovered over the Joshua trees. A nice sunset, hanging out with a cactus, and Joshua trees as far as you can see. This is the Mojave. If you like it wild and you like it rugged, this is the place to be. It's Jim Morrison's old playground. When the light of the day gives way to the dark, a surreal world emerges. It is easy to fall into the same spell that so many artists, shamans, and poets have succumbed to as they wander through the Joshua trees, where each branch rises out of the Mojave bearing a thorny crown. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please join me on the next part of my adventure.